covering the Northern Bahamas. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. A local producer getting ready to tell the story of Grand Bahamas' 5 missing boys through a documentary drama. The boys all went missing on Grand Bahama back in 2003. Their remains were found later than a year. Ariana Joy Roberts, sole proprietor of ASPS, says the project that will focus on mental health, prevention, and the eradication of child abuse has been in the making for some time now. Title 5, the documentary, will take an inside look at the lives of the missing boys.
Passion and purpose usually meet in the middle somewhere, and I would say that it met in 2008 when I got the vision to do this documentary. It was very heavy at the time, and so I just researched, the story, who the boys were, what schools they attended, who their parents were. And in 2015, after graduating and prior to coming home back to Freeport from film school, God told me, do it, go, And so I went and found the parents with the help of Joyce Pinder and Corel Pinder, found all 5 of the parents. And in fact, one of the parents, the week before I found her, just moved back from Haiti. And so I will say that this whole process has been completely about timing. And the stories have to be told. It's time.
She says to do it right, it will take time and lots of funding. A one-of-a-kind art exhibition is set for this Sunday at the Pelican Bay Resort.
Tickets include food and beverage. The event will be hosted by Karen Ferguson Bain and will include performances by the likes of Grand Bahama's very own Anya Bow, Harmony Entertainment accompanied by the St. George's School Band, and much more. Relatives of the 5 boys will be honored in a very special way that evening. A teaser of the documentary will also be released, and a live painting by Benjamin Ferguson Jr. raffled among other door prizes.
For more information, you can go to their Facebook page at 5 The Documentary. Now, Cordell Farrington is currently serving life in prison in connection with the boys' disappearance. The Pilot Club of Lucaia is continuing its mission of helping to develop communities, but the major focus remains on brain-related disorders. The service organization recently issued a scholarship to Grand Bahamian student Hannah Gilbert, who is pursuing a master's degree in speech pathology at Howard University in Washington, D.C. President of the Pilot Club of Lucaia, Betty Smith, says they were happy to assist Hannah with her studies in this vital area.
Persons would have had to been accepted or already in college to be a recipient for the award. Mrs. Hannah Gilbert, who has been studying in the field of brain-related disorder, which made her an excellent candidate for our scholarship award. The Pilot Club of Lucaia is extremely excited to afford Mrs. Hannah Gilbert this scholarship award, which will help her to further her studies in the field of brain-related disorder.
Now, Hannah's mother, Adrienne Gilbert, says the family is grateful to the Pilot Club for choosing Hannah for the scholarship.
I just want to thank the Pilot sisters from the bottom of my heart for allowing themselves to choose Hannah, because they could have chosen anyone. But for Hannah being chosen with this great award in this timely manner, it only could be a gift from God. So thank you, my Pilot sisters, which I am going to be a member as of this day of the Pilot Club to help in whichever way I can as they continue to step forward in unity.
Now to our series, Defying the Odds. She's had more than her share of challenges, from sexual abuse to teenage pregnancy and growing up without her family unit. For her, the emotional scars have cut deep, but through it all, she was able to forgive and is now living a more fulfilled life. Shoshina Roll-Farquharson gives us a story of this law enforcement officer who has defied the odds.
Sasha Gibson says at the age of 10, she was sexually abused by a man in his 40s.
He would come into the room, call me out of the room into the next room. When we were done, he would tell me to clean up, and I would go back to bed like nothing happened.
What was the reaction when you told?
Well, the female in the house at the time, was upset. And her words to me was not to tell anyone. She would deal with it.
But when she saw nothing being done, she reported the matter to a family member and then the police. That's when she was kicked out of the home. Sasha says she then moved in with her father, who tried his best, but at the time, as a result of the abuse, she became troubled. She recalls her father having to discipline her for skipping school.
My vice principal at the time decided that she was taking me to social service and not back home. And from there, I went to the children's home. And that was the Elizabeth Estates Children's Home.
She says she soon befriended a 16-year-old who she confided in. But by age 11, she would become pregnant.
I was ashamed and I didn't know how to hide from myself. The behavioral issues continued. And for that matter, they couldn't accommodate me anymore. So they had to separate both the child and I.
She was only 13 years old. That would be the last time she would see the baby.
Some days I even beat up myself, saying that, I was the cause of being separated from my child because I couldn't get it right, And there were times where I felt suicidal because I didn't because I didn't understand what was going on. There was a lot of churches that came to the children's home to do outreach ministries. And I made a decision that I would change my life. I graduated as student council president, student Christian movement president, president of the IAAP, and prefect. But I wanted more.
She enrolled in school, got an associate's degree first, and then a bachelor's degree. She is now a wife and a mother of 3 beautiful children.
I was able to join the police force, go through the training.
Sasha says she's forever grateful to PACE, its administrator, and persons like Justice Estelle Gray Evans and her husband, Shannon Dorr Evans.
I defied the odds because I had a God who always knew the plans for me.
Sasha says the female in that home eventually asked her forgiveness after her abuser died. However, she says she has no idea where her child is, as she hasn't seen or heard from the child since she was taken away from her at only a few months old. Shashina Roll-Farquharson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Shashina. And now it is time to ask the doctor.
Hi and welcome. I'd like to continue our discussion on food poisoning. Food poisoning, also called foodborne illness, is caused by eating contaminated food. Whether you become ill after eating contaminated food depends on the organism, the amount of exposure, your age, and your health. Those most susceptible to food poisoning and its complications include older adults, pregnant women, infants and children, and people with chronic diseases. Having a chronic condition reduces your immune response. The most common serious complication of food poisoning is dehydration, which is a severe loss of water and essential salts and minerals. Infants and older adults and people with chronic illnesses or suppressed immune systems such as diabetes, liver disease or AIDS, or receiving chemotherapy or radiation therapy for cancer may become severely dehydrated when they lose more fluids than they can replace. In that case, they may need to be admitted to the hospital to receive IV fluids. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt, and this has been Ask the Doctor.